Hello out there world. I'm Dr. Larlyn Riverwind.
And I'm Chief Joseph Riverwind. We are the founders and directors of FireKeepers International.
We have spent our day coordinating efforts for the disaster relief, recruiting volunteers, asking for funding, and trying to figure out where everything is needed the most and what is needed the most.
Not only disaster relief,
I think people can
not
see it.
not only disaster relief here, but also disaster relief internationally, where our friends are under attack in Israel. But our heart, of course, is as we've been on assignment and working and doing what we've been called to do. Our hometown has been hit and devastated. We've been listening to personal eyewitness testimonies all day from friends. Oops, sorry, I'm over here beating my mic. Of just horrendous things that the news isn't even sharing.
And for example, in one county, just a couple of counties over from us, there are 600 people missing. 600 people missing, and it is a disaster situation.
601 county. Search and rescue will continue, but then there comes in a really unfortunate time where it becomes recovery. And even though this is just on the cusp of everything finishing, this is just the beginning for a lot of people, especially the PTSD, the trauma. My deployment to Homestead, Florida was a 6-month deployment, was the entirety of that deployment, and 98% of Homestead, Florida was wiped out, completely gone. And this is the same situation where you're going to find looting. It becomes the Wild West. It becomes a frontier. Thankfully, the Appalachian they are full of God-fearing, God-loving people, and they're coming together during this time. But there's still a lot of work yet to be done. There's still a lot that can be done and that you can do to help.
Our home is at a high elevation, and so our home has been protected. We are on well water, which it's a really good thing. Our next door neighbor is on city water, and they won't have water for months.
Mm-hmm.
While we do have a well, we have together between our property and FireKeepers property, we have 24 acres, and we have been wanting to get that developed in a way where when people are displaced, when there's a need, when the apocalypse situations like this happen,
there is a place where people can go to, and we've been warning people. This is not an "I told you so" thing at all. Please don't take it that way. But Creator had told us. I don't even mean to say "but" in there. We've been saying my people aren't ready for what's coming, and this is, I believe, the beginning of things. I think things have already begun. It's the laws of physics that things begin to deteriorate at a rapid rate. So we need to be prepared, and we still have a week and a half that we're going to be gone before we return home. And even then, I know that there is help needed. So we need volunteers. We are putting together a search and rescue team because there's still hundreds and hundreds of people missing, and the miraculous will still happen. We're still going to hear miraculous stories like that house where the family of 5 or 6 was buried in the mud and they were rescued. And then a man from Irwin, Tennessee was swept away in the flood and ended up in Greenville, Tennessee. Y'all, if you don't know how far that is, look up on a map how far this man floated, because it's about a 2 to 3 hour drive in between the two. So we always have to leave room for what the Creator can do with the miraculous.
it's torturous for us right now that the Lord has us elsewhere from our home, but we do have people there who we're coordinating with to get supplies out and to funnel information to us while we funnel funding and supplies to them.
Mm-hmm.
So it is very hard on us to not be in the field right now.
This is what we're trained to do. This
But
is what we're prepared to do.
Part of what I have been trained to do is to coordinate from an office with guaranteed cell phone service. and Wi-Fi where we can get things done that need to be done. So we're not here, right? We're not in the thick of things where we would like to be, but this is where the Lord has us, and so that's what we're doing. We do have giving place for FireKeepers International, and if you're wanting to help, we have that posted in the comments, and there are 2 different places that would be appropriate to give. One of them is, it says disaster relief, and 100% of that is going to outside people. But there's also FireKeepers International, and I'll tell you, you guys, we need disaster relief funding also. We want to be able, on our land, to be able to, for example, we don't have a generator yet. Our organization needs a generator. We have 1 well, but we need a second because our well only does 11 gallons per minute, which is the bare minimum. We want to be able to help equip other people, not just have the bare minimum for our home. So if there is a hero out there that has well digging equipment and can help us get a deep well on FireKeepers land, we can help supply our neighbors. We're already offering our neighbors places to come fill up.
We have a pallet of solar panels ready to be installed. We just need the know-how and some of the equipment to where we can make off-grid places and shelters.
Yeah, we need some of the other equipment besides just the panels, and we need a little bit of manpower. So we've got some things in place, but there's so much more that we need to do in order. And here, disaster has hit our county, our region, and our neighboring counties. So we can't do it by ourselves. We can't prepare without you, and we want to be a help to you. You know, this is what our life is dedicated to.
Is teaching, educating, helping to build resilient communities, especially for preparing for things like this. So please continue to just think of all the families and in the Appalachian region. We thank you for the help that's pouring in from a lot of you who've been with FireKeepers over the years, and know that our thoughts and our prayers are with everyone in the Appalachian region. And there are boots on the ground now and have been. So if you want to volunteer, please email us I'll put it in the chat box at contact@firekeepersinternational.org. So send us an email if you're wanting to volunteer or donate equipment. I'm also going to be putting a newsletter out at firekeepersinternational.org for what type of equipment we'll need. It'll just be a direct link like to Amazon or something to where things can be shipped to us.
And if you know a well digger, let them know that our area, our county's water treatment system has been completely and irreparably destroyed.
So Greene County, Tennessee has 0 water capabilities.
Our Greenville County Hospital, the community hospital, has been completely evacuated and the patients sent elsewhere because it has been flooded and they have no water. And they're not expected to have water for weeks or months. So our whole community is going to need wells. Mm-hmm. We need wells. So, and this is a great big lesson to all those out there. Only 10% of the state of Tennessee, for example, is on well water. And that means 90% is dependent upon utilities, somebody else out there to supply. And really when we get down to it, even electric, being that the water pumps are electric, they're still dependent upon utilities. Mm-hmm. So we need to be able to have pumps that are able to be switched and hand pumped or something. It's a really important thing to have a black Berkey or something like that that filters out a lot of the giardia and the cryptosporidium, so that, in this case, there were flood waters. There's way too much water. Water is what did the damage. And then in the aftermath and the wake of it, what they need the most is water. So it's there's a plethora of water, but it's not good water. It's unsafe.
And y'all, just because it's coming out of a spring, maybe you have spring water and you think, oh, this is underground, this is a spring. That is not a guarantee, especially after a disaster, a natural flood, where you have all sorts of things in the water getting mixed into the water table underground. So do not trust just that you have spring or well water. Boil it for at least 20 minutes and make sure that that water is good before you drink it. It can cause really bad problems that I think you've even experienced when you've been out in the field, right?
For example, cryptosporidium is I believe, number 2 killer in developing countries. Those numbers shift sometimes. So the last time I checked on it, it was number 2, sometimes number 3 killer. I have had cryptosporidium from Ukraine, and I can tell you it is decimating. It's horrible. I was able to get rid of it using natural means. So cryptosporidium, you want to treat it with garlic and pumpkin. You want to...
I remember that wrecked you too. And it happened while Ukraine was being attacked too. We were in Kyiv.
Yeah. Anyway. That's a story for another day.
Amber said, is there a direct number? She knows somebody who owns a solar power company in Texas that would help.
Okay, so...
But I don't want to give out phone numbers online.
Here's what you do. Email us. Anybody who wants to volunteer, or who has somebody who has things that they can donate or bring, email us at contact@theriverwinds.org.
I thought it was FireKeepers.
I'm sorry.
Internet.
Erase that. Contact@FireKeepersInternational.org.
Yes.
Contact@FireKeepersInternational.org.
It's in the chat room.
And what you're gonna and tell us who, if you want to volunteer, give us your names and phone numbers and how many people you can bring.
And what type of experience you have too, if you have any experience in this.
You don't have to have experience. It's great if somebody among you does.
We'll find a place for everyone.
And then how many people are coming. We need you to be as self-sufficient as possible as far as bringing your own tent or things like that. We can try to figure out places, but it's going to be rough. We're not putting anybody up in hotels. I'm sorry, guys.
No, and I do. If you're a military veteran or police or EMT firefighter that wants to be part of the search and rescue team, I would prefer to have people who have experience or military experience or paramilitary experience to be a part of that. Only because it is not an easy job to go from search and rescue to recovery. Trust me. It is a life, something that you'll carry for your life, and I just want to make sure that the people on this team are prepared for that. So if that's you and you want to be a part of that, I'll include that in the email. Maybe any of your past military experience, or if you're certified in first aid, any of those things, please let us know. We'll also be providing we will have to have everybody sign what do you call it?
Waiver.
A waiver, yes. But be prepared to rough it.
So that's one way that you can help, is volunteers and items donated. Another way, of course, is funding, and we have those 2 different places on the link that's provided. One for the victims, and then the other for FireKeepers, so that we can get some of the much needed supplies we need to be able to help other people as well.
And then we're really hoping that we'll have even more volunteers this coming year, as well as funding for getting the property that we have ready for not only helping to train communities and families for these type of things, but also having a place where when these things happen, there is a place of peace and refuge and solace literally in the aftermath or the midst of a storm.
We want to be able to have an army of helpers who are willing to help in disastrous times. And we know that the further we get toward end times, when the fires come, as our people say, the more situations we will have like this. And unfortunately, we were receiving just a barrage of information and disasters
Some of it horrible
and
information.
deaths and horrific things coming from all directions to us today. And so,
And then we started getting videos of missiles hitting, and our friends calling us from bomb shelters, in northern Israel, and so we've literally been bombarded from both sides today, and so we definitely just thank you all for thinking of FireKeepers. Now there's a need more than ever, just for the volunteers, for the people willing to put feet on the ground, especially where it's needed the most. All of our regions are heartbroken. There's still people missing. There's still hope. And so we need you. We need you. So make sure you contact us at what's in the chat there, www.firekeepersinternational.org. This is our YouTube channel. It's also our main website. It's going through an overhaul. And we'll be posting the needs and links for the upcoming disaster relief team that's going to be headed into our local region of East Tennessee and the Appalachian Mountains. Oh, wow. Isn't there a second storm coming?
I have heard, but I don't know the details. Here is the power outage map. Oops. Okay, let's see. Okay, so when you see a power outage map, what you're looking at is not just people who are without electricity, but people whose freezer goods are rotting, people whose medicines are completely getting wasted if they have to be refrigerated, for example, insulin. And what you're seeing is people who need medicines that are running out because, for example, the pharmacies are closed. They can't get to their pharmacies. So these don't just represent darkness from no power. These represent life-threatening emergencies. If you've seen some of the flood footage, we have highways that are completely destroyed.
Bridges completely collapsed.
Homes that are obliterated.
Towns completely gone.
People's trailers, cars.
Floating down the rivers.
People still in them sometimes. And we need your prayers. Our area needs your prayers. So we have, like the people who we would typically go to, a lot of them are affected by this. Mm-hmm. So if you are able to help in any way, we thank you. And if you're not able to help in some of the physical ways, please help in prayer. Mm-hmm. And just sharing this, getting the word out. We're working with other nonprofits as well.
And we'll keep you updated as things go along. There's a lot happening, and we are on it. So thank you, Seneko Kakwana, to all of you who have been faithful supporters of FireKeepers International and the work that we do both here and internationally. And thank you even now, even more so, when literally the heart of our homeland has been hit and devastated. So we thank you for that.
Thank you so much for your prayers and your support and your shares.